You finally sit down to do the thing you actually want to do, not a chore, the real one, the book, the business, the YouTube channel, and your hand is already holding your phone. You didn't decide to pick it up. You watched it happen. 4 seconds, maybe less. 2 hours gone. The thing is still sitting there, untouched, somehow heavier than it was this morning. So you did what everyone told you to do. You bought the planner. You set the alarm for 5 in the morning. You tried the cold shower, the app that locks your phone, the other app that makes your phone grayscale, the other app that tries to gamify deep work, the list of 19 habits some guy swore by. A whole graveyard of fixes. And the thing you want is still sitting there, in the middle of all of it, untouched. But something here does not add up. You want this. You genuinely want it. And wanting something is supposed to make it easier to start, not harder. A kid doesn't need a planner to go outside and play. So why is the one thing you want most the single hardest thing in your life to begin? It doesn't have to be. And this isn't just about getting unstuck. These levers raise your output no matter where it sits today. The answer is not that you are lazy. There are 2 mechanisms in your brain that decide whether work happens. One is dopamine, the engine. It's the chemical that makes you want to work and keep working. 2 is your prefrontal cortex, the brake. The part that stops your hand halfway to the phone. Now, in the modern world, almost everyone's dopamine has taken a beating and almost everyone's prefrontal cortex hasn't been to the gym in a while. Those 2 things are the root cause. Fix those, and the thing you've been circling for months will finally move. Let's start with the engine. There is a machine in your head that turns wanting into doing. It runs on one chemical, and every morning, before you have even sat down to do work, you've drained it. Or more accurately, you've raised the floor of what it takes to stimulate you. Think of dopamine like a line on a monitor. It runs along flat. That's your baseline. Scientists call it your tonic wave. And how high it sits determines how interesting or enjoyable your life seems. Then come the spikes. Phasic hits. The line jumps when you scroll onto a funny video you didn't expect. Now here's the important bit. After every spike, the line dips below where it started, and your baseline settles at the dip, not back where it was. Every spike drags the flat line a little lower. Repeat this enough times, and the line is scraping the bottom of the screen. That's why starting work after a 2-hour doom scroll feels almost impossible. You sit at your computer wanting to work, but the line is on the floor, and work isn't enough to lift it. So instead, when you wake up in the morning, go straight to your desk. It sounds crazy, I know. You're struggling to work, and now you're getting told to wake up and immediately go work. But I promise you, if you can get to your desk without opening YouTube, the work will flow. It might actually feel good to do. This works on 2 levels. 1, the dopamine. Usually by the time you get to your desk, you've already dragged your baseline to the floor. You're already bored, and work doesn't spike your dopamine anywhere close to as hard or as often as your phone does. So it feels unbearable. With your baseline still high, work is enough. 2, when you feed your brain something first thing in the morning, it becomes more reactive to those particular cues. This is proven. Reward exposure biases your brain toward automatic habit and away from deliberate, goal-directed control. So the morning hit of YouTube doesn't just make you want more, it tips your whole day into autopilot, where you're running habits instead of choices. So why is the whole system this easy to rob? Why do you find yourself scrolling or watching endless suggested YouTube videos when you have stuff you know you need to get done? Because it is old. Older than people. The machine in your skull is hundreds of millions of years old, running in animals long before anything wore a human face. And for almost all of that time, later wasn't a sure thing. The food in your hand was real. The food next week was a maybe, and you might be dead by then. So the brain that grabbed the sure thing now is the brain that had children. You are running ancient software in a modern world, built by people who read the manual to use it against you, and they make money every extra second you're looking at your screen. Easier said than done, right? Not picking up your phone. The modern world is built around it, which brings us to the second mechanism, the brake. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that, if it were working properly, could actually stop you from picking up the phone, turning on the TV, or picking up the controller in the first place. Once again, I'm not going to tell you to try harder or just be more disciplined. You have seen 100 of those videos. We are going to fix the root cause, and the cause is that your prefrontal cortex is atrophied, a withered muscle sitting right behind your forehead. Your brain is like a muscle, and for a muscle to perform when it matters, it has to be trained to perform. So how do you train your prefrontal cortex? You could do it by resisting temptation all day, every day, for weeks or months on end, by forming habits over 3 months till they're finally locked in. That requires tremendous and consistent willpower with next to no hiccups. Or you could start with 3 minutes per day of practice that will actually rewire your brain, visibly on brain scans, after a couple of weeks. So how do you grow the part of your brain responsible for impulse control? Well, turns out people answered that question thousands of years ago. They're called yogis. While we modern people are losing the war for our own attention, these guys sat down 2,000 years ago and made winning it the entire point of their lives. They even named the goal, stilling the fluctuations of the mind, a mind that goes where you point it and stays. No app, no hack, just a man dragging his attention back to his own breath 10,000 times until it stopped running. That's not relaxing, that's training. Attention isn't something you have or you don't, it's a muscle you train. Yale put experienced meditators in an fMRI scanner and watched the part of the brain that usually produces endless background chatter. During meditation, it went completely quiet. Harvard did another scan and found the focus part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, was physically thicker in meditators than in a control group of non-meditators. Just like a bicep after doing curls, it will grow, and it will perform better with training. And you don't need 20 years in a cave. Visible change has been measured in 4 days. Researchers told total beginners to meditate for 20 minutes a day, scan their brains 4 days later, and the focus circuitry had already changed. 4 days to see results. Start with 3 minutes a day. Sit, follow your breath, and every time your mind bolts, and it will, catch it and haul it back. That's 1 rep. Catching it is the exercise. Your focus muscle needs training. 3 honest minutes might be more than it's had in a while. And there are hundreds of different types of meditation working towards similar goals. So if the breath doesn't work for you, find another. The point is to focus and quiet your mind. You will feel the difference faster than you think. Those 2 levers alone will change your trajectory. But if you want to take it a step further, there's one more lever we can pull: fuel. What you put into your body matters, not just for abs or muscles, for your thinking, your mood, your motivation. It matters far more than you may think. Before you write this off as eat your vegetables nonsense, there's hard evidence. They took people with real diagnosed depression, changed nothing but their food for 12 weeks, and a third of them came out the other side no longer depressed. A third from food. Another study took 100 kids with ADHD, changed the diet, and the symptoms dropped by half. And when they slipped the old food back in, the symptoms came straight back. Flip the food, flip the switch. Now, you're probably not clinically depressed, and you might not have ADHD. You just want to feel good and get things done. It's the same machine, just a smaller dial. It's not a coincidence that ADHD rates are going through the roof in the modern world. It's the inputs: phones, social media, bad food, lifestyle. They all cause the same symptoms that would get you thrown on Ritalin if you took them to your doctor. All this to say, food is an important lever. If you can change that too, you should. And if you do, you give the other 2, the engine and the brake, the high ground in the battle for your focus and discipline. Save the carbs for nighttime. Eat mostly protein and fats during the day, and your brain will notice before your body does. But if you're watching this video and you have already been on YouTube for the last hour, baseline already on the floor, and you have some work you really want to get done, there is one hack that actually works. Sit down and stare at a wall. 5 minutes, 10 if you can, nothing else. Sounds insane. But they tested this in a lab, sat 243 people in front of the most mind-numbing nothing they could find, and measured their brains. Afterward, their response to reward had climbed. The boredom turned their sensitivity back up. So no, you're not lazy. Your engine was hijacked, and your brake rusted, while an entire industry got paid to keep it that way. But now you know the actual levers. Work before phone. Daily meditation to rebuild your frontal cortex. And real food instead of garbage. None of it is a hack or a quick fix, but it's quicker than you think. You were never lazy. You were unarmed in a modern world built to steal your attention. Now you're not. You know how to fight back, so go do it.